Hello and welcome to the Dripping Hartnell podcast. We are back again with another Doctor Who episode. For those of you who listened last time, we will be watching the rest of Keys to Marinus, but we're going to bob between episodes. So this week we will be watching The Doctor's Daughter. I've not seen this since it came on air, I won't lie.
Really?
What?
Really?
Jesus.
Christ.
Honestly, I've not. So that just says something, really.
I mean, does it mean the episode's bad to you or what?
No, not at all. Considering how much I absolutely love Georgia Tennant.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I want to watch a Martha and Donna episode, I tend to watch the Sontaran one. Because I have a soft spot for Sontarans.
While we're mentioning Georgia Tennant, if I can sidetrack slightly, has everyone here seen Staged?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it just me? Is, and I don't mean this to sound condescending, I mean this in a very nice way. Is it just me, or in Staged, is Georgia Tennant simultaneously adorable and frightening?
Yes.
When she gets angry, it's really terrifying.
It kind of like, because of that show now, I really don't think David could function without Georgia in his life.
They're so sweet. They are so sweet.
You
got to think, because all this is pre them even dating and stuff as well, isn't it? So hindsight is kind of...
Isn't this how they met?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you meant Stage for a second. I was like, wait a minute. And then
I was going to say, I'm sure I remember that they'd have met before this, but I can't remember where I read that. And I'm sure they had met before this, but not.
I heard it was
together.
at a convention of sorts.
Yes, something like that.
And they kind of crossed paths very briefly because Peter Davison, and everything like that. And it's it's David Tennant's favorite Doctor. They definitely met before this.
Yes,
yeah. I
still remember that story said at the Comic-Con that Peter Davison said about, so how did David speak to you, Peter, about it? Peter's like, well, and he was saying something about how George would come and goes, he wants to take me to the theatre, and then when Peter's like, oh, and he goes, oh no, it's not like that. I don't think he likes me. She goes, trust me, she's taking you to see Hamlet. He likes you, and she's like, no. And then there were a few more shows went by, and then and he was like, okay.
I feel like we should say,
and then she called him and went, yeah, I think he likes me.
See, that's
he was like, I told you.
I think because the thing, nice. Peter worked in theatre before, so he knows all the tricks. Like he knows, like when somebody's taking whichever show, he's like, oh yeah, that means he thinks you're a friend, or that means
theatre code.
So I'd be very surprised if those listening to this podcast don't know this, but I'm going to throw it in as a bit of trivia. So for those who may not be aware, so Georgia is Peter Davison, who played the Fifth Doctor, his daughter in real life. She then married David Tennant, who's obviously the 10th Doctor. So there's some interesting. It's interesting how that all goes together.
She does make me laugh because I thought her Instagram is.
I love. My favourite one is the one of Peter changing the light bulb and David's just stood underneath one.
How many doctors does it take to
change a light bulb?
And she'll put up pictures of like Peter and Janet playing charades, and she put up some pajamas she got that had the Fifth Doctor's face on, and she was like, I don't know how my husband feels about this.
I think I don't know which behind the scenes it's on. It might be the confidential for the Doctor's Daughter And I think it's Ty that she's talking to, because he was quite young at the time, saying about whose favourite Doctor is.
I remember this.
And he chooses, I think he says the 10th Doctor. And then she says, who's your favourite classic Doctor? And he says the 4th Doctor. And she's like, oh, Grandad will be happy about that.
You know, I'm just thinking, right? I was thinking to myself the other day, because when like Abby mentioned that she wanted to watch this episode, I was like, who would be like, out of David's kids, who would be like, because obviously the 15th Doctor is taken out of the equation now. Which one, if there was a 20th Doctor, right? Which one of the kids are you betting is going to get that one? Because
I would go with Ty. I think I haven't seen him in a lot of things, but what I have seen him in, he's a very good actor.
I'm really surprised he's not been in it as like a side character yet. To be fair,
they're saving him.
Yeah, but then again, you've got Colin playing Maxwell back in the day.
That's true.
This is true. Oh, wouldn't that be great if you had Ty come in as a post Time War Maxwell?
It's like a little allude to the audience, like, just so you know who your next Doctor is.
Ty just walks in with a chicken hat, like.
Colin's on the commentary like afterward, going, "Hi guys, I'm in here for a reason. What reason? There's my hat."
Right, should we do this then, boys?
Let's do this.
Right, so we'll do the 3, 2, 1, and then we'll play, Jimmy.
Yes.
Don't push play.
I'm not pushing play. This last time I got overexcited.
Right, 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, of course, we've got Martha joining us for this one, haven't we?
Yeah.
I forgot. Completely forgot.
A nice Series 3 continuity here.
Yes.
Because I'm obviously rewatching. Well, I'm watching Torchwood at the moment, and you've got the jar and the hand in the jar thing.
Oh, so it's a spoiler.
Spoilers.
15-year-old spoiler.
I tell you what, they love this tunnel.
They do
the amount of scenes they've shot in this tunnel.
But not just this, didn't they use this in Sherlock as well, I think?
Yeah, and they used it in Torchwood for the shooting scene with Gwen.
Yes. It is actually a shooting gallery, isn't it? I think in real life.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Something like that.
Oh, this does bring me back to the 10th of May, 2008.
I have to say, the blue suit and coat is the best combo. I think it really is.
I do prefer the blue suit.
I won't lie. I saw our friend Sutton at a Comic-Con last October in the suit, and it is beautiful. It is. He's very nice as well, but the suit's, the suit.
I was gonna say I still have the blue suit, and I can't fit into it anymore.
Oh.
If any of you...
Sorry. I was going to say I have to give props to the guitar music here.
It's a nice little throwback, isn't it? And that's a good entrance, though.
It is a fantastic entrance.
Have any of you listened to the Jenny audios?
I've listened to the first series. I haven't listened to the second one yet.
The first one was better than the second, I feel, personally.
I feel it's the other way around.
Do you reckon? She just looks so young, doesn't she?
She does. I mean, how old is she here? Just out of curiosity, she's got to be in her early 20s.
Early 20s?
She was 2022, I thought.
Okay.
God, that makes me feel old.
That is young.
Yeah.
She was when she was. No, hang on. No, maybe mid-20s, because
I'm googling it as we speak.
She's about.
She had Ty in 2002 when she was 18.
18, yeah.
And this would have been filmed 2007. So this is 5 years on. So she'd be 23.
20,
I was close.
Yeah, 23.
Same age as Sutton, though. Basically.
There's about 10 years, 8 to 10 years between her and David. I think.
Yeah.
I love that as well. I have to say, this is like everybody you see in this is in sort of battle fatigues and things like that, and then the one woman in the slightly more tight-fitting clothes.
Always the way, though, isn't it? It's very
Of course it is.
It's very Who.
It's typical, isn't it?
I feel like if they had Peter Davison on set, I feel like the costume design is just feeling very awkward.
I do enjoy the fact that they don't have berets on their heads, though, because if they did, all I would be doing was commenting on stupidly shaped berets. It's my biggest pet peeve. Literally, as soon as units show up with their bright red berets, all I do is rip them apart. Such a military thing to do.
Leave Martha alone. Oh no, the half. Poor half got
fantastic bit of prosthetics work on the half
They
as well.
should
Has to be
bring
said.
back the half. They are
they're so
cool.
brilliant looking.
I can understand why they kind of had to split them up for the story's sake. Like, you know, yeah.
You always have to do that. I mean, all of us have written scripts. You're always better off splitting up teams, aren't you? You know.
Yeah.
That's not dated particularly well, has it? Let's be honest, that bit of CG, it's a little bit iffy. But
I'll
this
say
was
this:
2008.
I do not like Donna's outfit in this at all.
I get the feeling that it was a practical choice rather than an aesthetic one, given how much running around and moving about they do in this particular episode.
Yeah, at least she's got trainers on. But when you look at all the other outfits that Donna wears, this one doesn't really kind of. It's a bit mute.
It's a bit of a random choice. But then I suppose as well, this is also right after the Sontaran episode where did she wear that throughout the whole episode, or has she changed towards the end?
I can't remember.
What, Martha?
No,
Martha.
Donna.
Donna.
I think she's wearing that same outfit from the last episode, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Martha changed her costume as well, so I assume it's like a bit of time passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it was like a day or so that for them to kind of go, oh, the world's back to normal.
Yeah. I mean, it's like in the new series, like it's interesting when you do it because, like, obviously for Rose, like Rose didn't change between was it episodes 1 to 5 really? And
basically,
then, Martha was kind of the same up to 7,
and
then I don't know. But obviously, I'm just like that. What makes me think series 3, Martha was running around in heels for a lot of it. God.
Pretty sure she's wearing heels here by the look of it as well.
But that, in all fairness, that might be so she doesn't look tiny compared to David and Catherine.
Possibly, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen the height differences. David is a tall man.
That's like it's the same. Like, you know, when like Bonnie used to work with Colin, they just stand there on a box for shots.
Well, isn't it in the previous, again, I forget the name, I should remember, is it Poison Sky, the previous one where she ends up wearing the 10th Doctor's coat, and it's literally, she says it's like being in my dad's clothes because it's massive on her.
The Hath remind me of cats.
What?
Have the half done any audio? Because I feel like that would be a fun audio sound.
No, I don't think they have.
All they can do is make bubbles.
That's what I mean. You just have to record somebody gargling.
No, but the thing is, you could do with that, like what they did with, if I can franchise hop a minute, like they did with Chewbacca in Star Wars. You could actually have somebody saying the lines, but then you don't hear that. You dub it over with the bubbling. So you actually get a conversation, but it's only half of it in the audio.
I mean, like, you know, you have like, I don't know, whoever's the director for the day and in the booth with them just running lines, I guess.
I do love how you've got a bit more of you get more of the 10th Doctor's he's not reluctant to be a parent, it's the whole thing of him being reluctant to be a parent again.
Yeah, because of what he's lost.
Yeah,
because of what he never, like this incarnation, certainly not 9, never really moved on properly.
Somebody put Jenny in a flipping jacket. Everybody else has got a jacket on.
I know, that's what I mean. There's one guy wearing a t-shirt, but even then.
I'll say this though, I cosplay Jenny, and I literally just use stuff from when I was in the military. Every single thing I wear is military issue, including the top. So
I think it's like with David, it just feels like he's what would you call it? Like, he doesn't really talk a lot about, like, when you bring stuff about the Time War and everything to the surface, it kind of I guess you could say, he goes overboard with it.
Mm.
Which, you know, leans a lot into that personality of he never lets it go. Never lets it go. They
See,
all die.
that's the thing. I mean, you had the ninth Doctor, obviously fresh out of the Time War. You know, that was him trying to get past it, and he never did. And then I think the 10th Doctor was kind of, it was, the 10th Doctor is the Doctor who pretends he's past it, and he's really not. And then by the time the 11th Doctor comes around, he's accepted that he can't change it, I think. Because there's that whole thing of he denies ever counting how many children there were on Gallifrey. But then we learned the 10th Doctor did.
See? Look, they're
Yeah,
like
I
cats.
see what you mean about them being like
They
They
are
that.
actually are. I
Look,
see
they
what
are like
I'm
cats.
seeing it now. It's really weird. But...
I
Cats.
like where they've shot all this.
Mm.
You know, because you would think they just use like an underground bunker, but the fact that they're using like rundown houses, I quite like that.
I was going to say that must be some kind of ex-theatre in Cardiff.
I mean,
Probably.
it reminds me of like a paintball thing, like a like I'll say this. I mean, I've seen the only other like like, you know, I'll go to fan films for this. I think you guys know DDK Productions, who they made like a few Doctor Who fan films.
Yeah,
rings a bell.
Yeah, they use the paintball, like a paintball place for. They're really handy, like for getting like underground base stuff done. And then this is just in a tier. Yeah, this part's just in a tier. So.
She's not even got any dog tags around her neck. Come on.
I mean, she has just been born.
I know, but everybody
quote,
else
unquote.
has got them on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. She came out of that cloning machine with a utility belt, but not dog tags.
You know what? I really hope in the 60th we get like moments of Donna just finding the things that are like the things that nobody else is seeing. You know, she points it out, and it's kind of, I don't know.
I'd like to hang out with the Hath for a day.
I was going to say, with the amount of people they had there, the amount of headdresses they had made up for the Hath, and they've never been seen again. I wonder what happened to all those.
I've not even seen them at any like exhibitions or anything.
I think one of the Hath might have appeared in the bar at the end of time, but that's I think the last time I remember seeing them.
I don't know. In Ireland, do we have like? I think there's a guy who does like cosplays of like Doctor Who characters. He's done the Ood, but he might have done the Hat. Oh.
I'm trying to see if I can find my dog tags. They're around here somewhere, but they're not in here.
For those wondering, listening, Abby has just shown us a picture of her in the Navy during her Navy days in uniform.
I've got an old tankard on my computer desk that's basically just full of Navy memorabilia. But no, there's no dog tags in there.
You know, when I watch this episode, I do realize how young David actually is in this.
Really, I was just thinking the same. He really does look youthful here. I mean, he's always looked youthful, but he's looked the only way I think David doesn't necessarily age. He gets more stubble.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of just. I mean, even he says it. Even he says it in the interviews and stuff. I've not changed much, but you can see I've aged. Like,
but I think that's the same with most of the Doctors. To be fair,
there's a lot of good clues in this episode as to the revelations at the end of it.
There are. It's only once you sort of watched it, you go back and you rewatch it, and you realize, oh, it was actually there. It was literally the revelation. We've just heard it several times, and you just doesn't click.
Call the beans, Rambo. Your woman. I do love the fact that everybody thinks they're a couple. Mr. and Mrs. Was it the Pompeii episode? Oh my god.
Mr. and Mrs. Spartacus.
Spartacus.
I was about to say Pompeii's another one we should watch for this, but when you think about it, Series 4 had some absolute bangers.
definitely.
Really had some of the strongest episodes.
I think that was like Russell on a high. Like it was definitely like the strongest part of his writing.
Yes, Donna.
Happy half.
Well done, Donna. Your outfit's crap, but at least your brain's working. She sort of matches the Doctor, though. They're kind of like colour coordinated for this episode. Go with the blue. Yes, go with the blue. That look.
Yeah.
You don't realise how much she looks like her dad until she's acting, if that makes any sense. It sounds like
I see what you mean. He's sort of around the eyes,
yeah,
and just the poses.
Yeah, that's one thing I because when I used the TikTok cosplay, I watched the mannerisms and the facial expressions and like the hand actions and stuff, and she's very expressive in the face compared to a lot of other people that I TikTok cosplayed. She's very eyes and teeth, if that makes any sense.
She's got his sort of vocal range as well, because it's like, you know, the Fifth Doctor, when he gets angry, he doesn't shout, he just gets louder, if you see what I mean. She does the same sort of thing when she gets excited.
It's kind of, he does that, but he gets that disappointing father rather than full on shouting at people.
I do feel like she does like pull off a lot of the faces that Peter would do as well, you know, or like the Doctor would look really pissed off. It's that one. Or kind of just looking off into the distance.
Basically, she pulls the Peter Davison "I'm working with Adric" face most of this episode.
Pretty much.
Adric.
See, literally, loads of like several women there, all in battle dress, full on battle dress.
She's so diddy. I don't know how tall she is now.
She's got to be about
Donna's so underrated.
5'4", I'm gonna say.
I do like this bit coming up.
Yes, I mean this is again
one of those things... and the score. The score's very nice as well.
The way they light it as well, like, is just perfect.
Oh, she's an inch taller than me.
Oh,
it's his. It's the 10th Doctor's face. Look, even before he hears, he knows exactly what he's about to hear, and he doesn't like it. But he does, but he doesn't.
Yeah, because for him, he's, as we just said, he's like he can't. He's pretending that he's over it. Like,
well, the thing is as well is this is. I mean, this is, you know, the only double heartbeat he's heard before this is the Master's, potentially. So this is the first time that he's really sort of come face to face with the idea of another of his race existing.
I guess, like, that's why, like, with 11, like, it's strange, like, you know, sometimes it is strange to think how well he moves on from it. But then when you see it come to the forefront, you're like, yeah, he's
distracted by women in short skirts.
Yeah.
Well, not at the beginning. He's gone not at the beginning. He buried it deep. You know, I think after 10, he was like, I cannot be this guy anymore.
It's also when you know as well from when you watch End of Time that he's been lying to himself this whole time about how the Time Lords actually were.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give it another chance in case he's made a fool again, you know.
Yeah, no, he wants to remember them. He wants to remember them as I think he doesn't want to remember the Time Lords. He wants to remember his family, who may have been Time Lords, but he sort of impresses that on the whole race, you know.
Well, it's like you're not going to know every single human. Like if you think about the human race, you're going to think about the people you loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, in moments where, like, David's Doctor talks about Gallifrey, I feel like that's where he shines, because he really builds up
definitely
Gallifrey would be to you know, back in the day before the Time War, like.
Yeah.
Literally, even their gills move.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's just how, it really is. Like,
I
even
would
just the
like to
blinking
know where they.
eye.
I know who might know where they are.
Yes, there is one person you can think of who may know where they are.
We all know a certain person.
We need to
Oh,
track these
look,
things down.
Yes. We shall
he's got
interrogate
half
him this
friends.
weekend.
Half friends.
Connor, be careful. That's going to become a meme for you, mate.
What
Don't get a
halves?
hat.
Have any
For
fan
Marcy and
productions?
Hass.
Oh my god! Have any fan productions that, like, in our circle, brought back Jenny?
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
I know some fan productions have, but they're not like connected with us.
Mm.
I mean, I feel like a lot of us have just been like,
I love Donna saying that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you. I'd like to see you try that.
I love the 10th Doctor's expression. Like, I could if I wanted to.
Am I the only one that would love to see Donna?
Would love to see
God.
Donna what?
I'd love to see Donna with 11.
Yes. I would love to see Donna with 9. Can you imagine the sass?
I like this. I like the little mouse.
The little mouse.
Oh my god, wait, sorry.
Look.
No, Donna, 9, and Jackie all in the same room.
Oh Christ.
The carnage.
Why would you be distracted by a mouse?
Because he probably doesn't know what it is.
She done a free there. She done a free. She should have said IKEA. It would have been brilliant.
Did she do a pertwee there?
Yeah, that's what I said. She would have done a free. She should have said IKEA.
Hike.
See, what would have been good there is you could have had a tiny little callback to the 10th Doctor saying, "Remind me to show you how it's done properly."
Yeah.
Aikido. Who taught you that? You. Oh yeah.
I will say beforehand,
They really missed an opportunity, because if she learnt skills from the Doctor and
she would have known.
Yeah,
yes,
see?
that is true.
Look at the house. I love them. Look.
He's like,
them.
no. The scene beforehand, where like they come down the stairs and she has the gun, and he says, "Don't you dare!" I love the ferocity. Like,
I am right.
He really goes full dad mode.
I don't know what Doctor this is going to be for, but I'm going to write a half story.
Do it.
I just imagine David, like, that's what David's
do what's
like
about
with
to happen
his kids when he's angry. Like.
I think Frew Madgerman's acting in this is fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, I remember when I watched this first time with what's about to happen, it gave me. I mean, this is going to be a niche reference that people know. That it gave me Never-Ending Story vibes with the scene with the horse. I was like, it's so depressing, but it's so beautifully acted. She does it wonderfully.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'll say, it's like, it's good that Martha is actually getting more time in this episode to do stuff, because obviously in the last one,
she got cloned and put in a tub.
Yeah.
Apart from I know they did the Family of Blood thing. You could say that, but did Martha ever get a Dr. Light episode? I don't think she did. That I remember.
I say Family of Blood probably
Family
the
Blood's
closest.
the closest thing, because he's not technically the Doctor, but he is.
42 kind of was for a little bit.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah.
You could argue, because she had to take the lead for that. He was still in the corner, but
That's. I mean, guys, who we put in bed? Do you think Martha would come back if Russell asked her for series 14?
Definitely.
I think she would. Yeah.
I'd put bets on that she'd be like, that would be the spin-off person, definitely.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is like a spin-off of some kind, whether it's Torchwood or Unit or something like that she'd appear in one of those.
100%.
We know who would be happy with a Torchwood series right now.
Yes.
I would like a Unit. I would like something a bit different, to be fair. But I'd never say no to more Kate Lethbridge to do it.
Of course.
Run! Oh, I saw As if on cue, I saw a behind-the-scenes confidential thing literally
I
hours
watched that
before.
earlier. I watched that earlier as well.
Yeah, of the stunt double with her doing this bit, the lasers.
How many mice does he have in his coat pocket?
It's just full of mice.
Yeah. I thought that was the same one, was it not?
No. Oh, no, oh, true. Oh, no, that's true.
Well, I don't know, because he did pick it up again. I think he did.
Oh, yeah, he picked up and held it, then the wheels squeaked, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend I had a friend yesterday. Like we were talking about this. We said that the doctor's pockets must be huge. Like the whole idea of like they might be bigger on the inside. How much?
Well, isn't that a joke in? Is it Christmas Invasion? No. Which is the one that Donna first appears in? The Christmas one.
Runaway Bride.
Runaway Bride. I'm pretty sure there's a joke in Runaway Bride where he pulls a remote control out of his pocket, and she says, "How did you fit that in there?" And he goes, "Bigger on the inside."
Oh,
He did try to get through to her, though. He really did try for a second.
But to be fair, she does, if our memory serves, she does learn.
Yeah.
This is the point.
I mean,
but
the thing is, he actually does genuinely try. And then when she ignores him, he's just like, "See, told you." He's just so quick to deflect.
Yeah. But there's also the fact as well, it's the case of is the doctor teaching her, or is this the doctor that she's come from emerging within her?
it could be like an idea of both. Like
I think it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah, like it could be that there's. I mean, in a strange way, you could say there's elements like of the doctor that just have it. It's more the programming, you could say. Like with the Centaurans, obviously they're programmed to, defeat the Rutans or whatever. They are programmed to defeat the Hat.
Yeah.
So it's like the doctor's stuff is probably overriding it and being like, yeah, I'm more dominant there.
I just love this. It's so funny,
fantastic.
but it's so good at the same time.
It really has just made me question as well. How is it we did not get a Jenny figure during Series 4? You'd think she'd be prime to get an action figure.
Oh my god! Go on, Jimmy.
I'll get on the phone and see what I can do.
Go on, Jimmy. Go on. I will say though, like I do remember the Series 4 figure range. Like there was a lot of action figures like released.
There were.
So I can imagine their budget was tight.
Yeah, but Georgia Tennant.
Oh yeah,
so I mean,
I'm
as a
not
main
writing that
sort of
off.
character.
Like, obviously, yes.
I mean, we got a half, but we didn't get a Jenny.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we got a half, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this scene, man.
It's so sad. It's so sad, but at the same time, it is absolutely beautifully acted. I mean, this I think is genuinely one of Freema's best scenes.
She's so good in this.
Fantastic.
It's the thing of like this Hat this is just a random like alien who just decided, yeah, I'm going to try and save this person just because.
I mean, that's the thing. You look at that and think like he's only just met her, and he literally, I fully think he knows exactly what's happening to him, and he does that purely to save her.
Oh, Hat.
It's the little breaking of the glass as he goes under as well. That.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
Oh,
it's so sad.
Oh, she's so good. She was so underused. She was
fantastic.
So underused. I do think that about a lot of Doctor Who companions, though, the fact that a lot of them are underused a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the other, going back to the Pompeii as well, is Donna's acting at the end of that. I mean, that to me, I really was in two minds about Catherine Tate as a companion, because obviously I
think that's why they done that episode.
I'd known her primarily as a comedy actress. And then I saw that and I was like, no, she can do it. She's absolutely got.
I think that's what I generally think that's why they done that episode so early in that series. Was just to shut the haters down and be like, look, Catherine can do this.
Brilliant. I mean,
What's the good thing about comedy actors, which or comedians, which I found out, is that like they they do have a lot of tragedy like behind them, because that's how usually you are able to be funny, is you do have a bit of tragedy that has occurred in your life that you've hit it with jokes and stuff, like, so, I think.
Oh, this thing coming up was good as well.
Imagine if she had become a companion.
So
I reckon that would have been
so
quite.
good.
That would have been quite a nice opportunity for him to kind of be kind of like the Adric thing again, but a bit better.
See, it's the thing I like kind of dislike a little bit about RTD's era is that he does give the Doctor a lot of chances, like, to start again.
Yeah.
It's like, mate, could you give him one saving grace?
See, that's the thing. I think it's a classic thing. He has, in a way, I don't think the Doctor wants. I think he does, because he wants. He doesn't want to start again. He wants his old life back. I think that's the reason why he's reluctant.
But
it's not
he's
that
worried
he doesn't want
he's
it.
worried about getting hurt again.
Yes.
There you go. There we go. That's a bit...
Whenever I see this, I look at that and think at that point, he says, I look at her and I see them. If it was me, and it wouldn't have been the way to go, I would have flashed up a little picture of Susan or something, just, because that's who he's seeing at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, you got to think that's up until that point that Susan was probably the last like real family member he had around.
I mean, that's the thing. You could, again, it wouldn't have worked because it would have been a reference that would have gone over people's heads. But you could have had a moment when the 10th Doctor calls after Jenny and he calls her Susan, and then she's momentarily confused.
That line just then that George has just delivered the
now for more
time for more running. Love the running.
The running.
Is such a Jenny from the Audios line. Love the running.
Martha, I'd argue, even though that everyone's great in the story, Martha's the strongest one. She's made it across 100%. There.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No wonder she went home in the end. She was like, no, I'm not doing this again.
It's because, like, I feel... All right, I'll say this. I feel like Martha saw the more gorier side of what was going on the planet, while the 10th Doctor and everyone else was like, oh, we're just running through some tunnels. This is, it's no problem. Martha, I'm up. I watched someone die.
Yeah.
I love how they're barely running, though, aren't they? They're jogging.
It kind of looks like an old Crystal Maze set now, though.
Oh my God, it actually does, doesn't it?
Just like, to the next room.
To be fair, someone used to actually joke about that with the War Games, that the War Games just seems like a massive crystal maze.
Oh, I've just had a fantastic idea for a War Games sequel story.
Oh no, started him off.
It just going, I'm not going to say it on the podcast because somebody might nick the idea, but
yes,
I'll say
do not say the idea.
I'll say it once we finish recording.
I've learned from my mistakes. Never say your ideas on a podcast because people will nick them, BBC.
This is another thing I love about Donna is the Doctor, as clever as he is, he just doesn't see it, and Donna just gets it, Hounslow,
that's around the corner from
me. It's the thing of like with Donna, I feel like she was the perfect companion to come in and like balance out 10. She was just a people person. Like
she doesn't get the alien stuff, but in the same way, the Doctor doesn't always get the human stuff. They have that nice dynamic of Donna is the first, I would have said one of the first companions who can genuinely get away with treating the Doctor like the idiot he is at times.
Yeah, get away with it, unlike Zoe, who just treated the Doctor like an idiot.
He just doesn't get it. He's just there like, what?
Huh?
It is a good concept. Who wrote this one?
Is this one of Russell's? This was written by Stephen Greenhorn.
Was this a one-off for him, or was this?
He also wrote the Lazarus Experiment.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, Martha.
I mean, it's a bump up, in my opinion. Like, you know, I can imagine.
Bougainvillea.
I can imagine Russell just being like, "Right, great, you can do all this. The ending, though."
What I love about this is
the
if you pause this shot by shot, you would see that it's basically the same staircase, just lit in different colours.
Yeah.
Set design, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, beautiful.
Ketchup. Did they film Waters of Mars in this place?
It does look like the same thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. It probably did, to be fair. You know what Doctor Who's like of recycling places.
I mean, like, Cardiff.
Half.
Oh, I mean, Cardiff is a pretty big area, but I can imagine they were kind of like, we've got good, working relationships with these areas, so we can just reuse them.
I was going to say, you look at how many times Cardiff Museum has passed for the Musée d'Orsay or somewhere in London.
Or what's the place by Torchwood?
The Millennium Centre.
Millennium Centre.
Yeah.
They just went, let's make that all about one show. Let's have people get shot there. Let's have them get stabbed.
See, I'm not the only Doctor Who does speeches at 10,000 miles an hour. As much as I love a doctor's speech, I do wish they would slow down.
I mean, with David, he's just going like 5 to 10 miles an hour.
This is when you think 10 and 13, whenever they do their doctor speeches, they do just go.
Yeah. It's one of my favourite bits of behind the scenes from Day of the Doctor is when they're talking about working with John Hurt and they're saying they're literally speaking 100 miles an hour climbing off the walls. And you've just got John Hurt just slightly raising his eyebrow. And then that's like Now, I've always wondered here if what revives Jenny at the end is this stuff or it's regeneration energy. It's never made entirely clear. I think it's implied to be this stuff, but
I'd like to think it's this stuff. Purely
it makes more sense for it to be this stuff.
Yeah. One, because she doesn't change form.
No.
I mean, you could... You could say that, like, maybe because of whatever the machine did, it maybe... I'm going to say maybe improved the regeneration process that you don't have to change.
Possibly.
But then it depends. This is where Chibnall buggered everything over because Time Lords and the whole regeneration.
We're getting into this.
No, but Time Lords aren't born. Time Lords aren't actually born with a regeneration cycle.
This is what I'm saying.
They stand in front of the tampered schism. They decide who they're going to be, and they typically gain that.
So that's why I'm thinking that it's that magical floaty fairy dust stuff that revives her.
Or they're loomed.
Ooh.
Love it.
Are we?
If you guys,
this is one of those scenes. This is one of those scenes as well where I'm like, this is one thing I do like about Torchwood is the whole you would have blood on her top. I get that it's a kids show, but she's been shot.
I love David's bit. I mean, this really, to me,
I reckon this is when they kind of connected. I know they're acting, but
This is when David went, "This is the woman of my dream."
Yeah.
He's got an inner thought going on just there.
His conscience is saying no.
Whilst he's saying, "You're my daughter."
You're my daughter.
And then Peter's
It's
watching
so
it.
sad.
I can just imagine Peter watching it, just like
he's sniffing her hair though. He's like,
I was gonna say this here, this. Wait for it. Wait there. That he is the Time Lord victorious. That's where it first starts, I reckon. Right now, right here, because he says it. I mean, this is the bit he says.
Snaps in his mind.
Yeah, because he says, "I never would." I reckon this is the point. Is he would, but he won't. That's the difference.
Yeah.
It's not that he wouldn't. He absolutely would. He wants to. That's why he picks up the gun. But he wouldn't on general principle.
I won't lie, right? It's very much the fact that, like, and I'm calling back to that, the fact that whatever way you regenerate affects the next body. Unfortunately, Rose's love for the Doctor in series 1 kind of buggered up Ten's, like,
makes him more
vulnerable.
I was gonna say vulnerable. I was gonna say weaker, but vulnerable's better.
Yeah.
But I love. He doesn't. This is testament. Like, look at this. You can tell just watching this. You see him pick up that gun
as well. The music.
yes.
You genuinely don't know at this point if he's actually going to do it. That's what I love. You look at this and think, holy shit, he might actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his eyes as well.
I love the music as well, how eerie it gets. Like,
I mean, that's what I mean. It's a case of you look at that and think, like, no, he would, but he won't.
Yeah.
Not right now, anyway, folks.
So well done. Yeah. But that kind of harkens back to the point, doesn't it? He says, "I never would," and then in End of Time, he does, or he plans to, which kind of proves the point that he would do it. He just won't unless specific circumstances.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say that scene does make the blue suit look very nice.
It does. The contrast of the green. But I think that's the other thing as well. That's what, again, to skip ahead, that's what made the I think the remembering this scene is what made the bit in the End of Time so good. Is he absolutely refuses to take Wilf's gun until he knows it's the Time Lords, at which point you sort of get that realization of that's how serious this is. And you get the same sort of thing here. You know, the Doctor never refuses constantly to pick up a firearm, but then he does because somebody's murdered someone he cares about.
It's like a click in the head. Like it's all like with anyone in life. Like you can always have barriers, but there's always something in your head that just makes you think, "Yep, everything's gone. Every rule I've ever taught."
I think it is the terraforming stuff, because you see it's very particular. They have a shot of the sunlight go over her face.
It makes more sense for it to be the terraforming stuff,
and because it's still ongoing, the light probably just healed her.
Oh, guys, we're about if I'm just thinking now. I just remembered about the TARDIS scene. We're just about to see like a certain shot right at some point soon.
Oh yeah, I know what's coming up. Choose to look if you want, but on the left side, you're about to see a box light.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before. I know I'm going to be able to unsee it. Why did you do that?
I feel for the editor of that episode. Just like,
it always seems to be in the TARDIS where they leave scripts out or boom mics or.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the 50th anniversary, Matt.
I do love
No, that was his calculations. That was the Doctor's calculations. That's
definitely not his script. Yes.
No, it's not his script at all.
I do like the way that they park the TARDIS half on the path.
I was just thinking the same thing. Shouldn't it be leaning off to one side?
Yeah, it would have been leaning.
But I have a theory on that the TARDIS base. It's one of these things you look at and think the TARDIS base changes according to what it lands on. But then you think, well, in that case, then why in Castrovalva did it land on its side or upside down or something? It doesn't make sense.
You could say that, like, the TARDIS is just like, oh yeah, here's a flat surface, but then it's like, oh, there's a small.
The TARDIS landed on its side because Tegan.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
I'm glad they used the same theme for Martha leaving as she did in
such a good. The music is so good in this.
I mean, everyone does give Murray Gold a bit of flack every now and again, and I get why people want a change.
No, but I think there has to be thematic
yes
tunes that they use as
but
well.
he never did a bad job on the music. I don't.
You always
I don't,
remember You always remember the tunes for the companions.
Absolutely.
And I think the only issue was when he done 11's theme. It was overdone. That's why.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That is definitely the source energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I will say, like, Jimmy, to like onto what you said, like about Murray. I think with Murray, you really need to like. I think it's like every artist, you need to challenge him again. And I'd say,
yes,
he's like, right, I am composing for the new Doctor of Ross's first new series in ages. I probably need to do something new.
Well, that's kind of why I'm hoping for obviously that for those listening, the 60th anniversary and the 15th Doctor. 14th Doctor anniversary specials and the 15th Doctor series is coming up, and obviously I believe Murray is back for that. But I'm hoping, kind of like the rest of the series seems to be going ahead with quite a classic vibe. I'm hoping he's going to go a bit more of a classic route with the music.
So, what do we think overall of the Doctor's Daughter?
I mean, it's a fun story.
It's a fun story.
Yeah, it's a fun story that explores a funny element of what if he had a daughter, but it also harkens back into his past. You know, the Time War's mentioned, but not focused on. It's about his recovery post Time War.
Yeah. I think it's a great like I'll say this right. You know, for those listening, this episode came out right after obviously the Sontaran Stratagem and the Poison Sky. I don't know whether those are before or after. But,
I think you got it the right way around.
Oh, I did. Oh, okay.
I think so.
But I like the fact that they've like the writer took elements from that story to use here. That it connects, like, not just Martha being there, it actually connects a few elements, so that at least people are like, okay, yeah, I remember what these clone things are. You know, for those who don't, it's fine anyway. It's just an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I think as well, if you're like, because I always try and find how it relates to our reality in some way, those stories. Obviously, I know it's about an alien and everything, but for me, I've always seen it as he's always been in recovery from that war, and now he's suddenly looking at something domestic, and it's like such a change for him because he's always traveling around and everything. But as we've seen with, obviously I'm referring to expanded media here, when they've done the 9th Doctor Adventures with Big Finish, the first few volumes are him going, okay, I better carry on traveling like I've always done, and all this sort of stuff. Like he's trying to get settled back into doing that, and he's only just getting some sort of comfort from being able to do that again. And then is immediately faced with a family element, which is, of course, the moment he actually accepts her is the moment she's gone.
Yeah.
So like it hurts all over again. He kind of sadly proves himself right. He's like, this is why I didn't want to do it. I told you all.
Yeah. And it's also the fact as well
but that's the sad thing as well.
I think it's also the fact as well that he's at this point he's going through that recovery process, as you say, and I think it's kind of like he gets to this point. It's like, I want to be at this point. I just don't want to be at this point right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with like this story as well, like, there's two things I noticed about the story. It's like that it was a really good, like, the writer did a great job of showing like how war just can happen out of complete nothing. Like, these clones kept getting like remade and whatever over and over again, that they just forgot why what they were doing.
Yeah, it's that classic thing, isn't it, that no one actually remembers. No one ever remembers why they're fighting. I mean, generally they do in a general idea, but the actual catalyst of a war is so quickly forgotten. And this, as I said, this story is, as Aidan said, it's a great allegory for that. It's kind of realizing that's the point. That's the whole point of it. It's utterly pointless. Because you don't.
Also that it can be fixed. Like, you don't have to jump straight to that. There were opportunities. All it was Mission Commander died and they couldn't decide who's in charge. That's literally all it was. It's like, do we really have to do this? Like, you could have just maybe had a vote. And I suppose that's what I think Doctor Who, especially in this era, does really well. And I think nowadays, people would go political and all this, but it's literally just a case of wars typically could be resolved, but people just sometimes let things escalate.
I mean, actually, the thing is, now you've said that, it's only really just occurred to me with this rewatch. This episode is a good allegory in a certain light for a example of racial conflict, because the whole point is they divide into Hath and humans.
Yeah,
they divide into those that are different from each other, and that's literally all it is.
And I don't want to I think if we diverted into that kind of conversation, we'd be here for hours.
Quite,
but
yes.
It's interesting to see how as the world develops, certain divides happen, and you're looking back on it, and you're like, how did we get here? How did we get here?
Doesn't matter how far we progress, unless we learn from the past mistakes, the same things are going to keep happening again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's been said to me as well, like that people forget. That's the thing. That's why you need, I think Connor, you kind of said something to me before about older films, older films that that are not really right, like that
politically correct.
Yes, yeah. I think we were talking about the film Mildred Pierce and how the maid was portrayed in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like that people like that. You need to still see that it's there to be that's why we
it's not a reason for it to be. It's not an excuse for it to be there, but it's a reason for it to be there to learn from it.
Exactly.
You can't remove the lesson. You can't remove the things you don't like from the media. Otherwise, you remove the lesson that comes from why you shouldn't not like it.
Those who forget the past are deemed to repeat it.
Yes, that was I was thinking. I was like, what is that phrase? I couldn't think of it.
Do you reckon that if the writers had an opportunity, do you reckon it would have been a good shout to bring Jenny back, or do you reckon it's beyond it by now?
They had multiple. I feel like they had multiple chances to bring her back.
I think it's too late now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think if they were going to ever bring Jenny back, because it was a series 4 episode, I would have said 6.
Yeah.
Because it would have been Matt in the role, settled into his own Doctor persona, and oddly, he would have actually been more accepting.
Yeah.
Because he'd been able to move on, and he would have. Like Jimmy was saying, accepted what happened and would be able to find that way to move forward.
I mean,
you could say he could be the. It's sort of like what I was like. If we ever do watch The Husbands of River Song, I'll explain this point further. But it's like 11 would have been the better father. I guess you could say father-like figure for Jenny, maybe.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen her with 12.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
More of a grandfather.
I'm glad you said that, because I would highly recommend, who hasn't read it, the Lost Dimension comic series, because it is all about Jenny. She meets multiple doctors, but the main is 12, and you've got this wonderful dynamic between Jenny and 12 that you really wish it had been on screen, because I think especially. I mean, I think the comic itself, I'm going to look at it because I've got it right here. I'm pretty sure it's with Bill, which kind of places it with 12 at the best point. Yeah, it is with Bill. And because you've got the fantastic bit in series 10 when the doctor's in his study at the university and he's got the pictures of River and Susan. And I think if you'd had Jenny come in that series, it really would have just sort of fitted into the dynamic. So it's a shame we didn't get it on screen, but I highly recommend the Lost Dimension if you want a good sort of place to put that story.
I will say this as well, as we're talking about Jenny, the audio stuff is fun. It is a fun little romp. And the stuff that she's done with 5, the specials that she's done with 5 have been very good as well. Obviously, that's her dad as well, and it's quite funny hearing them kind of bouncing off each other. And
artist at the end was brilliant for that.
It was good. It was
so
good. It was good.
Peter must have done a fucking cartwheel when he heard he was doing it with George. He was like, "Yes."
Quick question though: out of the expanded media that's been done with Jenny, which because there's only been 2 volumes so far.
Yeah.
Which volume's your favourite?
I've already said this.
I'm saying it again. Yeah, I think it's 1, isn't it?
Yeah, I liked 1, but I think that was purely because it was kind of like Jenny didn't really know what she was doing, and she was like, "Oh, I've got to find a companion," and it was just kind of like very early doctory type thing. And I think I quite like that because she didn't really know what was going on.
I settled in better with the second, personally. But
So,
I remember, because she was in Legacy of Time as well. I'm just trying to remember who she was opposite.
That's when she and Five first met, and that's
that was fun. That
yes.
Because
she's like, Dad, and he's like, what?
That was it, yeah.
And
that was very good. I knew she'd done something else with the Fifth Doctor other than because I listened to it recently. I should have remembered this.
I will say I do like how how every Doctor their voices aged a bit since they were in the role. I like how Peter's voice is now.
It's consistent.
Yeah, he's not changed too much. So that's it for this week. Next week we will be going back into the keys of not next week, the week after. At some point, next episode.
The next episode.
Listeners, if you have
next
a
episode,
just like
episode, we will be going back into Keys of Marinus, and it's part 2, which is the Velvet Web. Is that right, Connor? Yes. Okay. So yeah, we're going to watch episode 2 of Keys of Marinus next episode. So look forward to that. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.